Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Fun Indian Guy podcast, the first podcast of 2019. So, Happy New Year! And in today's podcast, we are talking about Patriot Act by Hasan Minhaj. It's a show on Netflix. It's a web series with weekly episodes. And for the people who don't know who is Hasan Minhaj or what is Patriot Act, a quick definition time. So Hasan Minhaj is a stand-up comedian from United States of America. He was born and brought up in States, but his parents are Indians, so he has Indian origin. And I came across him by watching his first Netflix special called Homecoming King, and that's how I came to know. Like, I was going through the Netflix suggestions about stand-up comedy specials, and I saw his special, and then I watched it, and I was blown away. Not just because of the comedy, or not just because how funny the jokes were, but also the overall impact, the use of lights, the use of screen, the use of graphics on the screen, the use of camera angles. Everything was so damn good. Like, the experienced designer inside me was like, so amazing. Like, how well you can present one simple stand-up comedy just by using all the elements which are available or which are there to cater your purpose. And they used it really well, and I really like the approach of Hasan Minhaj of doing stand-up comedy with all those elements involved. And then he launched Patriot Act, a show on Netflix. It's more like satire, more like news show, more like a comedy show, but it's full of knowledge, facts, figures, and everything. We're gonna talk all about it because it's an amazing show, and if you haven't watched it yet, I will push you to watch it, but after listening to this podcast. So let's roll the intro right now. Hi, I'm Suyog, also known as the Fun Indian Guy. I'm a designer, musician, filmmaker, and a mechanical engineer. I'm from India, and currently I'm chilling around, traveling around, working around, roaming around, having fun around Europe, and this is my podcast. The Fun Indian Guy podcast. So, as I said before, I found Hasan Minhaj special on my Netflix suggestion list, and then I went through it. So, when it comes to stand-up comedy special, you have like one stage, one microphone, one stool which has like two bottles or a glass of water, and then you have audience, and usually the specials are in bigger stadiums or bigger theaters or those opera house kind of settings. So you have large audience in front of you, and that's how you do your special. At the same time, you have screens behind you and lights, and the cameras are rolling, and the way he really approached it in Homecoming King was mind-blowing. I have watched this Homecoming King special like more than 3 or 4 times, because whenever I visit friends or whenever friends are coming to my house or whenever we are hanging out and watching Netflix, I'm trying to always put Hasan Minhaj and show them, and it's really funny, and it's really well detailed and well choreographed show, and I got hooked to it. And by watching it again and again, I really understood the way they have approached lights and the graphics. For example, they have this big screen kind of a thing going on behind, and it's not like a rectangular screen, it's like more like small boxes of screen, and the way they are putting colors on it, or the way when he tells some specific story, the maps are coming on the screen, or some details are coming on the screen, or some sentences are coming on the screen, are so well timed and so well positioned. For example, if he is on the left side of the stage, the light is on him, and then the display or the graphic is only in the left side, and it creates really amazing impact when you have this all choreography going on with the lights, your position on the stage, your storytelling abilities. We are not going into his content because it was really marvelous. It was primarily really funny. So the way he was moving around, the way he was using all the props like stools, the water bottle, and everything was well thought and well choreographed. That's the real word, like well choreographed, because it was in harmony, and the way everything was moving around him, and the way everything was delivering what he wanted to say with all those intensity. Really mind-blowing. If you haven't watched it, if you have Netflix, go on it and watch the Homecoming King, and then try to observe all the details, like how the camera is moving when the story becomes serious, how the lights are changing, how the backgrounds are changing, because all these things are there, they keep happening, and as an audience, we are usually not paying attention to the details which are happening, but we always get affected by the whole impact it creates. But when you go and watch it with the mindset of trying to understand the details and trying to be blown away by these small details. It's really funny for me. It's really entertaining for me in some other way, and maybe it's part of my experienced designer inside me who is always trying to understand how he's delivering the whole show experience. But it's beautiful. Today we are not talking about Homecoming King. We are talking about Patriot Act, the show which comes every Sunday, and now it's on holiday because there was Christmas and also they're not putting any show on Netflix. And the people who are not on Netflix, don't worry. Some of the episodes are still available on YouTube under the same channel called Patriot Act. So Hasan Minhaj started this show. It's this show initially I thought it's gonna be small bits and pieces of comedy of 20 to 25 minutes, but then I started watching it, and episode by episode I really understood it's more of a news or a journalism kind of a show than just pure comedy. It's filled with comedy, it's filled with satire, it's filled with a lot of jokes on politics and all the things going around in the world. But at the same time, he's trying to deliver very honest news, very honest message, very serious topics, the topics which are usually not covered by news channels because they are worried about the image or they are kind of controlled by some entities. So they are usually not going for such topics, and he is pulling these topics on the stage, talking about it, making jokes on it, at the same time not losing the seriousness of or the depth of the topic itself. Here also he's using the lights and the screens amazingly. So there is basically a screen below him, like he's standing on a screen itself, which is like a diamond shaped screen, 2D, not diamond in 3D, but it's like a diamond shaped cutout screen. And then there is a screen behind him, and the data and the facts when he talks about, they come on the screen and they slide from the bottom surface on the behind surface or behind surface to bottom surface. So there is really good animations going on those screens. And I particularly like this thing because of the presentation or pitching abilities of a person. So whenever a person is delivering some sort of a message, the graphics or the visuals play a really important role. And there are a lot of people who are doing it all the time, but especially in news or stand-up satire comedy, this has been used kind of for the first time as far as I know. Maybe I don't know many things about it, but this was really amazing. And to make it more clear how you can use it or how it's very impactful, let's take an example of Steve Jobs. He used to deliver, or he used to do product launches on a big stage with big audience, and you have like this black screen behind, like total darkness, and then he's talking about the new product, and then you have crystal sharp images of new iPhone or new iPad or new MacBook Pro coming on the stage, and it creates a different impact, right? Because his speech and the intensity of those graphics gives you a really larger than life experience when you watch it. And that's why Steve Jobs pitching and Steve Jobs product launch was really famous. At the same time, Elon Musk also does some similar techniques where he's also having really big black backdrops. Usually they are real and not the screens. So the new Tesla will come on the stage or something like that, or he's standing in front of the houses and trying to sell the solar panels or something like that. His pitching has a different style. He's not as clear as Steve Jobs, but you understand the point, right? When the speech and the visuals match and they are catering to the same message, the impact is amazing. So just like that, Hasan Minhaj is trying to do these pitches and having these conversations with us regarding the serious topics like immigration problems in United States of America, some problems related to Saudi Arabia, some oil problems going on in America. Amazon was one of the episodes. Supreme, the brand with outfits and which makes like shoes and stuff, was one of the episodes. And all these episodes are catering to or are delivering really dark messages or really dark things which are going on and nobody's talking about them. So this is a new form of news telling, and I really love it because, as I said initially, I thought it was a comedy show, but it turns out to be a news show with comedy involved in it. And at the end of the show of 20 to 25 minutes, you are leaving the screen or you are leaving the space with a lot of knowledge about the issue. You are entertained, so you are willing to watch more, and the overall experience is also giving amazing details and facts to you through the screens and all those graphics and all those numbers he's showing on the screen. So in one of the episodes, he's talking about Amazon. But wait a minute, my microphone is falling, I guess, and I'm going like this, like I'm becoming a turtle. Wait. So, in the episode of Amazon, instead of talking more about Amazon being a platform where you can buy stuff and getting it delivered at your home, he talks about it a bit, but he's talking more about Amazon cloud services and how it is taking over the world. At the same time, how Amazon has started to produce their own products under Amazon Basics, and how it is affecting manufacturers like Apple or even the smaller manufacturers, and how it is taking over the jobs. But we do not feel it, or we do not see it, because we are not looking for it. But when you are sitting down and watching an episode which you think is entertaining, but it leaves you with a lot of facts and really serious things which are going on, it's very important. And when it comes to journalism should be like that. Like till now, the news channels are like, you sit down and you are blabbering about stuff all day long, and there is nothing valuable for people. There is no value is added, because at times you don't even know if the news is relevant or news is real or not. But I think journalism should change, and this Patriot Act is a really nice way of showing how journalism can be done in 2018 or 19 with all this technology available, and to make it more impactful and entertaining at the same time. I think everybody who is in journalism, or everybody who is interested in all these topics or what's going on, should really watch the show. If you haven't watched it already, again, go on Netflix and watch Patriot Act, or watch it on YouTube. Some episodes are available there. I'm telling this again because I really want you to sit down and watch a couple of episodes and understand how deep and how serious the issues are, and at the same time how you can deliver a message through comedy and still make a greater impact, which is serious at the end of the day. But why we were discussing Patriot Act in my podcast, I came across the show. I was blown away by the approach. I was blown away by the intentions, and I was blown away by the information and the fact that news can be told in an amazing way, creating really impact which is intended behind the motive of giving news itself. So nowadays, I usually do not watch news on TV channels, or also on social media, because there are a lot of news channels who are on social media delivering their news, because I'm tired of the way they tell it. I'm tired of the way they portray the news. I'm tired of the way they give the information, because half of the time I feel it's very commercial, half of the time I feel it's very fake, half of the time I'm not at all agreeing with the values of the person who is delivering the news. So in 2018 and now 2019, we need newer ways of delivering news, and Patriot Act by Hasan Minhaj was one of the really amazing example of how you can tell news. Though there are late night shows and Tonight Show where people are delivering news in a funny way, but this episode of sitting down 25 minutes serious news with comedy, with visuals, had more impact on me than watching those late night show and Tonight's Talk. So that's why I will suggest you guys to watch Patriot Act. The links of the show are down below in the description of this podcast. I hope you found some sort of value. For the people who don't know Patriot Act, I hope you will go and watch at least one episode or one teaser on YouTube. And for the people who knew Patriot Act before, I hope you found some sort of new perspective on the show altogether. I would really like to make such podcast about things which are out there, for example Patriot Act, and I'm really planning to make one episode about McDonald's, not as a business McDonald's, but more about the experience as a child when I went to McDonald's for the first time, and how it drafted or how it created a memory for me, and how it was one of the first franchises in food sector which I came across, and how it added value to my life back then. As now most of the services are like that, where you go and order and do self-service and stuff like that, but McDonald's was one of the first ones, and it is also part of experience designing and user-centered design, though I do not go to McDonald's anymore. But we will talk about everything in upcoming episodes. And also this week we will have one more video about design and innovation series. I'm gonna talk more about service design and what is service design. So stay tuned with this channel, because this channel is all about dynamic content. That being said, do not forget to have fun, because having fun is not an option, it's a must. And I will see you super soon. Ciao, ciao. The Fun Indian Guy Podcast.